Good evening, everyone. Today, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you another story, and we're gonna talk about Joe's story. Joe is a righteous man. He was very wealthy, you know, upright character who loved God, but yet God allowed Satan to destroy and put his possession and children and everything else. God don't do the stone, but God allowed us to go through the storm for He to test our faith. He tests all our faith. We will see that Job will refuse to give up on God. And see, that's how I am too. Satan wants to try to make you mad in all kind of ways to give up on God. And so even though he does not understand why this is happening, to him, but Job will show us how he trusts God in the mix of his difficult time that he had to face. Now, see, I mumble a little bit, I fuss a little bit, but I turn and shift it around and try to be humble as possible. But Job ain't do all that mumbling. Job ain't complain, and Job just stuck on God and prayed. Bent over and everything and just dealt with it. So this gonna be Job 1, chapter 1, 1. In the land of Zorin, he lived a man whose name was Job. Now this man was blameless and upright, and he feared God than evil. Joe was a real person. Now, Joe and his family lived a normal life, and he had a regular custom day. It was just a regular day. And that's how you could have a good day, and all of a sudden, things will happen. Because Satan don't like things to be normal and you laughing and enjoying life. He got to disturb it some kind of way. Now one day the angel had came to the president himself before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. See, God was just making his normal rounds, him and his angel, and then here comes Satan right behind him, you know. And so God and his angel had planned their activity on earth, and what angels met and also Satan followed. And the Lord had said to Satan, where have you come from? Because see, he'll come out from nowhere. You could be walking, you don't know what direction come, but Satan just gonna sneak up on you. Now Satan answered the Lord from roaming around throughout the earth, going backwards and forward. And that's what you do. Go backwards and forward just to see who we gonna mess with, who he gonna destroy today. So Satan activity look for people to attack with temptation. Now he wants to make people, hate God, and he look to see what he can disrupt. Satan rely on having you not put a hedge around, him in his household and everything he has, but he have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds and spread out the land, and so Satan don't like that, and Satan also know who God have a hedge around. Now God didn't tell him that. He's talking about a hedge that you have around Joe and his family. So Satan had said, remove it. And so Satan know who God have a hedge around, and he told him to remove it. But now stretch out your hand and strike everything that he has, and he will surely curse you in your face. Now Satan think he have this down pat. But God know Job. God know he a righteous man, and God know Job love him. He know. That's why God said you can go ahead. Okay, because I know my Job is not gonna curse me. And so Satan had wanted Job to come against God, and Job worshiped God, and not out of love, but because God had given him so much. And so the Lord had said, Satan, very well. Then everything he had is in your power. But on the man himself, do not lay a finger. Now you could do whatever you want, Satan, but I'm telling you, Don't touch a finger on his body. You know, and so then Satan had went out from his presence of the Lord to do his dirty work. You know, so Satan can bring suffering, difficulties, and that's why God said, "Don't lay a finger on Job." You know, because God know what Satan is capable of doing. He will know if he don't tell him to don't hurt Job, he will hurt Job. You know, Satan has started attacking Job's family, son and daughters. You know, fire burned down, and the sheep and flocks, and Job lost everything. Job went out. I mean, it says Satan went out and did just what he said he gonna do. But the only thing is not gonna come to pass. He will not curse God. You know, so at this time, Joe had got up and tore his robe and shaved his head, and then he fell down to the ground and worshiped God. That's all you do. You know, when I first got in this drought, 2 days I was like a nervous wreck. You know, but then after a while, you know, you got to humble yourself, and all you can do is raise your hand and say, God, you know, you have to take over. You know, you have to still pray. You know, they didn't have no Bible back then, but now you just got to read that Bible. I read so scripture. You see, my Bible is all marked up. You know, you got to read that Bible, because all you can do is raise your hand and worship God. You know, and Satan had failed. You know, instead of cursing God, you know, Job worshiped. You know, and he lost his family and wealth, and yet he remained upright. And that's what you have to do. In the mix of your storm, in the mix of your drought, in the mix of any situation that Satan is coming against you with, your only power is to worship God. That's your only power, to rely on. You know, don't call nobody on the phone. God, let me tell you, you don't call nobody to the house. You know, you worship God. That's your only solution. That's your only solution in this situation. You know, and so Joe raised his hand up, and he, you know, he worshiped God, and he said, Lord, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord give me, and the Lord taken away. You know, may the name of the Lord be praised. And that's how I got. I just got so deep in the spirit. Read so much. Y'all got to get the Book of Norman. Book of Norman is good to read too. Matching over to Bible. I mean, I just got deep in it. You know, you got to get deep in the spirit. You know, all this to get through this. You know, and all this Job did not sin. You know, by changing God with wrongdoing. He kept on being upright, an outrighteous person. Now his wife had said, now this is something. He got rid of everybody but except his wife. Now the devil gonna leave somebody around to do the little dirty, little slick stuff. You know, because the wife gonna be saying some little slick, foolish stuff. And Job gonna have to settle down. You know, now his wife had said to him, are you still maintaining your integrity? You know, she said, just curse God and then you die. Not just on the curse God, she telling her husband to die. See, that's why Satan left her behind, so she could say something foolish like that. You know, and so for the same reason Satan killed his whole family, but saved his wife. I guess to do the dirty work, to say something stupid. You know, he replied, you are talking like a foolish woman. You know, should we accept good from God and not trouble? You know, in all this, Job did not sin in what he said. And that's another thing. You know, I be having to watch myself, you know, in your anger. You in the storm. You in a drought, or whatever your situation is. You might be angry. You might be, you know, mad. But we still have to watch the words that we say. Because we can say the wrong thing and it will be sin against God. Now he replied, you are talking, you know, foolish woman. You know, should we accept good from God, you know, and not trouble? And all this, Job did not sin against God. Now, what he said, just cause we dealing with trouble, that don't mean that's God doing. You know, God just allowing it to test his faith. But that's all Satan doing. Because Satan, what he do is come against us for us to depart from God. And when you depart from God, then Satan have the opportunity to destroy you. And she questioned God goodness of what God was doing. Because sometimes people are trying to get you away from God. You still waiting? You still doing that? Like the wife was doing Job. You still doing that? You got to do this, you got to do that way. And so Job put her in her place. He depended on God, he relied on God, he had faith, he believed that God gonna interfere at any time. So when Job three friends came, they didn't recognize Job. He wasn't taking care of himself. He's so distressed. What Job has done to his family. He stayed away for a while because they couldn't recognize him. When they started talking, blaming his Job, if he had something to blame God for. Now Job did not do anything wrong. So the friends wasn't the help. First when they came, they couldn't recognize him. So they sit back and watch, I think for like a week or so. But they didn't know what to say. And then when they did start talking, they start blaming us, God. Job, what you did? And where you God at? So they was talking foolish when they did start speaking. And Job lost everything. Job friends, come to comfort Job, but they couldn't recognize Job and ask Job what he did. Now Satan had hold on Job's wife and asked Job crazy question, and he had to tell her to go sit down. And God was mad with Job's friends. Because a lot of people, when we in this, we've been representing as our fate. We might get laughed at, and nobody may not know what we doing, like Job. And criticizing of what he did. Why you in that predicament? Why everything is just shining around you? So the Lord as Job going through his trials, his brother, friends were nowhere around. And that's something. When you're going through your trials, nobody's not there to comfort you. His brothers and them were still alive. They heard what happened, but they ain't come over to comfort. But they're going to be at the end with celebration, with food and everything else. So God had told Job to pray for his friends because they also were talking foolish. And so the Lord blessed the Latin part of Job's life more than the former part. Remember, he lost everything. He was broken because the devil had got mad because he was still standing. He was still praising God. He was just still praying. And it looked like nothing was wrong with him at first. He done lost everything. David, Satan didn't like that. Oh no, he's still smiling. He's still talking to God. He's still praying. Let me do something else. And see, God had told him not to put his hand on Job. And so that he had Job on his wound. The wife had to be clean and all that off, and he was bent over, still praising and talking to God. Now he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yokes, and an ox, and 1,000 donkeys. Now God had restored Job's life back, and more children and flocks. Job had lived 140 years old. Now see, Job's life was better than it was before. So he believed in God, and he did not curse God. He stood by God's side. And he proved Satan wrong. Always can prove Satan wrong. And so we just got to, in a mix of our trials, mix of stones, in a mix of anything, we just got to keep on praying. Keep on reading that word. And keep getting in the spirit. So make the right decision. So life, Job lost everything. He was a righteous man, just like God said. He did not curse him. He did not mumble. He did not say nothing bad. He was a righteous man. Believe and trusted God. And so that's all I have for you today. Just that in your trials, always still pray. Always still read that Bible. You know, that's the only thing will get you through it. And when God see you fasting, when He see you still making Him first, and He still see you connected to Him and doing your commandments and doing all that you need to do to serve Him, eventually He will pull you out of whatever you in. So that's all I have for you today. You have a blessed day.